Thanks very much for being here, and I'm pleased to be joined by Congressman Brad Sherman. Here is the reality of the American economy today. Despite a huge increase in technology and productivity, millions of American workers are working longer hours for low wages, and median family income is almost $5,000 less than it was in 1999. While the middle class continues its 40-year decline, we have 45 million people living in poverty and the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth. Half of the American people have less than $10,000 in savings and have no idea as to how they will retire with dignity. The real unemployment rate today is not 5.5%, but it is close to 11%. But here is another reality in terms of the American economy. Today, 99% of all new income is going to the top 1%. The top 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. During the last 2 years, the 14 wealthiest Americans saw their wealth increase by $157 billion, which is more wealth than is owned by the bottom 130 million Americans. In 2 years, wealth increased for 14 people by more wealth than is owned entirely by the bottom 130 million Americans. And in the midst of all of this grotesque level of income and wealth inequality sits Wall Street. As we all know, the greed, recklessness, and illegal behavior on Wall Street drove this country into the worst recession since the Great Depression. Millions of Americans lost their jobs, lost their homes, lost their life savings, lost their ability to send their kids to college. The middle class is still suffering from the horrendous damage huge financial institutions and insurance companies did to them in 2008. I voted for the Dodd-Frank legislation, but let us not kid ourselves. Dodd-Frank was a modest piece of legislation. Dodd-Frank did not end much of the casino-style gambling that takes place on Wall Street. In fact, much of this reckless activity is still going on today.